Welcome to the premiere episode of NEPA SportzXtra. Coming up on this episode, there will be a recap of the District 2 Wrestling Championships, with some amazing history being made by Lexia Schechterly out of Lake-Lehman, and a conversation with Delaware Valley head coach Lou DeLauro. We will also look ahead to what will be coming up in the next 7 days, and some background information and what our goal is here at NEPA SportzXtra. But first, my name is Dave Rosengrant, and I hope this new media will bring you some very good stories. Many of you are already familiar with some of my work. For those of you who are not, I've been involved in the NEPA sports community for nearly 2 decades and bring tons of knowledge with me. A lot of stats, background information, some unique insight on sports here in NEPA. Some of the sports that I have an expertise in are high school and collegiate wrestling, soccer, baseball, including minor league baseball. I've been around for a while. We all know that there's a vast array of sports in our area. A lot of it gets talked about, and this outlet will not just focus on those sports, even though it's probable that a large amount of time will be spent on the aforementioned sports. I also understand that many listeners do not have a lot of time to just sit down and listen to someone ramble on for a very long time. In fact, you're probably already getting tired of listening to my voice. I know I don't have the time or the patience to sit down and listen to someone ramble on for 60 or 90 minutes, so we'll try to keep this short. As short as possible, around the length of a sitcom is what we're shooting for here. This week, we bring you a recap of the District 2 Wrestling Championships that were held this past weekend at Mohegan Sun Arena. Also, just want to point out, give you some information here. If you have an extra story idea that you normally wouldn't see on television or in the newspaper or on a local sports website, please reach out via email at nepasports@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter and on Facebook at NEPA SportsXtra. One last thing before we get started here. We are also accepting announcements for your organization's club, clinic, league, anything, any kind of announcement you want. Pass it along to us. We'll get the information out. What we want to do, one of our objects and goals here, is to get the word out about any kind of sport, whether it's a youth sport, youth league, high school, semi-pro, anything like that. Anything that you haven't seen too much of, we're going to try to focus on that and get the word out to anyone, whether it's a little league team winning your league, or a soccer team winning a tournament championship in youth, or even a high school volleyball team going to a tournament and winning. We want to hear about that. So drop us a line. Again, that is NEPA Sports with the Z instead of an S, XTRA@gmail.com. Again, follow us on Twitter at NEPA SportzXtra. All one word. Again, that's sports with the Z instead of an S, XTRA, and the same on Facebook. Now, what exactly is NEPA SportzXtra? We talked about that a little bit. Let me start by saying that NEPA has a ton of good stories. A lot of these stories, though, get looked past just because what happens is there's a limited amount of space, whether it's on air or in the newspaper or things like that, and they just don't have the space for it. So it's unfortunate that a lot of these stories get overlooked. The coverage is fantastic, though. And all we want to do is here at NEPA SportzXtra is try to complement the great coverage that the local reporters already give you, whether you see it on the local news channels or in your local newspaper or on some local website, local sports website. We just want to complement that with some good background information, good stats, go a little more in depth on things that you might not normally see. Our goal at NEPA SportzXtra is to bring you these stories and the people behind the stories that you don't always see on page 1 of the sports section or on your local newscast sports segment. Not only that, we're going to make time for these stories, these smaller stories, while complementing the bigger stories with things that you don't know. I think I've already said that. Right now, we're trying to make this series a weekly occurrence. We do have lofty goals, though, and we're looking for bigger and better things in the not-so-distant future. There's so many fantastic sports stories out there in our area, in NEPA, about people who are doing great things or have done great things. Now's the time to get that word out. Whether you're somebody who's running a youth soccer league that's doing great things, and you're donating tons of goods to others who are in need, whatever, anything like that. There's a lot of people out there who are developing our youth into the people that they will become. And those are the stories we want to hear about too. Now, this past weekend, it was the first live event at Mohegan Sun Arena with fans in almost a year. Of course, we all know what has happened over the last year. I don't think I need to rehash any of that or tell you. It's no secret what's happened. But it was nice to be there and see some sort of normalcy. A lot of people needed normalcy, and we got it. Not only that, but we got to see wrestling. District championships. A lot of people never thought this was going to happen. And we got to see it. And not only did we get to see it, we saw history. History. The history that was made was phenomenal. We'll get to that in 1 second. But first, I just want to say what a great job and props to the District 2 committee, Corey Hansen, the AA tournament director, Jay Starnes, the AAA director and the chairman of wrestling, Frank Majikis, the District 2 chair, and the entire cast and crew who just did a phenomenal job and worked tirelessly to put this tournament together in about 2 weeks. A lot of people don't understand how long it takes to get this thing, to get the ball rolling on this, and to do that in 2 weeks was just phenomenal. I covered district wrestling for the past 16 years now, and to see how everything was run so smoothly, it was fantastic. So props to everyone out there. As for the history, goes without saying, some phenomenal history. And the biggest storyline of the weekend came from Lake-Lehman's Lexia Schechterly, a freshman 106-pounder. She became the first female ever. We're talking 70, 80 years of district tournaments, and she became the first female ever to advance to the district final and advance to the Northeast Regional Tournament, which is coming up in a couple days here, in about 4 or 5 days. Even though she lost in the final 7-2 to Cole Henry from Lackawanna Trail, boy, you should have seen the energy that the crowd gave off when she got a second period reversal to tie the score at 2-2. That was In the 2 days of the tournament, that was the biggest ovation that we've heard. Another big ovation was right before her match when AA tournament director Corey Hansen announced that she was the first girl to advance to the district final and to the regional tournament. A little note about girls wrestling here in District 2. She wasn't the first to win a match, though. 2 girls from Nanticoke about 5-6 years ago, Crystal Danielle and Megan Coker, both made history the same year. Danielle became the first girl to earn a medal, to stand on that medal stand, and Coker became the first girl to ever win a contested match at districts. So, obviously Lexi made some history here, but she wasn't the first to do a couple other things too. After her historic performance, Lexi talked to the media. She talked about her idol, Vale Baker, who wrestled for Wyoming Seminary after starting out at Benton. Baker is now wrestling collegiately at Augsburg University. Here's all of what Lexi said in her post-match interview.
Talk about the possibility of making history. You made history today. What's that feel like?
It feels great. It's really exciting. I'm proud of it. Oh, sorry, I'm a little out of breath. Okay, go ahead.
Any nerves coming into this? I mean, the last time we talked, you said you were pretty calm, cool, and collected.
Yeah, well, I was, but I got here today. I did feel a little nervous. It was starting to kick in. But it was a fun tournament. I think I did pretty good. It was just
How exciting is it to know that you've made history and, you're moving on to the next round and, you got to the district final?
It's very exciting to show that girls can do stuff like that. Not only guys can do stuff, but girls can do it too. They can have the same opportunities to win everything.
Do you see yourself as a role model to other girls who might want to wrestle?
Well, it just depends, because, I don't want to be I'm a role model or anything, but, I would support them 100%, but, I don't know. That's just up to them. I don't know if I can be a role model or not. That's just really their choice.
How do you feel about somebody looking up to you as a role model?
I think it's very awesome that somebody would look up to me. I just started wrestling 3 years ago, and I really liked it, and I just kept going. And this is where you got me. You just gotta stick to it.
Who did you look up to? I mean, who did you look up to? We talked about role models. Who was yours?
Yeah, Bill Baker from Benton. We talk a lot, but yeah, she's in college. But yeah, she was one of my biggest role models.
If you were nervous coming into this tournament, it didn't show. You have a major decision. You had a pin in your second match. I mean, pretty successful tournament for you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Once again, that was Lexi Schechterly from Lake-Lehman, who became the first girl in District 2 history to advance to the district final of the district wrestling tournament and to advance to the Northeast Regional Tournament. In the Class 3A tournament, Delaware Valley picked up the team championship, holding off a young Abington Heights team to win the team title for the 6th year in the last 10 years. The Warriors did this despite Abington picking up 4 golds in 1 second. Del Val only had 3 golds and 1 second place finish. Also for Delaware Valley, Jason Henderson picked up the Outstanding Wrestler Award. A little side note on that, he became the first wrestler from Del Val to win the OW since Frankie Carrozza in 2015. What was special about Carrozza winning it that year is that he missed the tournament because he was suffering from a health condition. And what that shows right there is all you need to know about wrestling. It shows the unity about the sport and just how everybody comes together when you see that happen. Again, that was 2015, 6 years ago now. But the wrestling community is so tight-knit So when you see something like that, you kind of understand that a little bit. I talked to Lou DeLauro about all these things and what has been a trying year, really, for his team. And to overcome this obstacle and to win the team title, it was really a great accomplishment for the team. And here he is.
Yes.
So congratulations on another victory here.
Yes.
How is this one compared to the last few?
This was it's a sweet one because this has been a unusual year. We just started practice again a week and a half ago. So we're not in the type of shape that we're usually in. But the guys gritted it out, and they gutted it out, and everybody wrestled. And you know what? We tell the guys this year's different. When you're on the mat, take advantage of that opportunity and have fun while you're doing it, because who knows what's going to happen tomorrow. Hey, we're supposed to be in the regional tournament with a couple guys next week, but who knows what could happen. So everyone's got to have fun, go out there, continue working hard, and get better. Right now our goals, are the individuals, but also we have the team stuff hopefully coming up. So we got to see what's going on with that, team districts and hopefully team states, and we got to continue working. So this was a nice step. It was great to see the kids wrestle 3, 4, 5 matches in a day, because we haven't had that opportunity this year. And I think that's a big difference when you don't have the tournament grind, in the season. I think that's a big difference, because you see it with all the kids, not just my team. A lot of teams, the end match, I think some of them struggle, and some kids broke. The kids that didn't break, they're going to regionals, for the most part.
There's a lot of differences this year with this tournament, from being one day to the true second place, a bunch of different things. What's been the biggest difference for you in this tournament and for your team?
I got to see only 2 qualifiers in the true second. I like it. Okay, I do like the competition of the true second, but only 2 kids getting through that regional tournament, that's tough, because you can't have a bad match. And, some kids that had a bad match, they're great wrestlers, and they're staying home next week. So I really do think that's the biggest difference. One day, 3 to 5 matches and only having 2 qualifiers and wrestling for a true second.
That 215 bracket obviously was a killer here.
Yes.
To see Jason come out and get the OW, just talk about that bracket and what it means for him.
Jason's been working real hard this year. He has high goals for himself. This is it for him wrestling. When he's done with this, he's playing football at the next level. But he has high goals, and he's been in the room every day, and he's been the hardest worker this year, by far. He wants to get better, and he's not done yet. His goal now is that regional tournament next weekend. Then he wants to do the super region, and he wants to be a state champ. But it's 1 week at a time, 1 match at a time, and we still have 3 weeks to get better. So next week we got to focus starting. Next week starts tomorrow. What do we got to do tomorrow to get ready for next Saturday? Because down in District 11, they're going to be ready to go. And it's going to be it's going to be intense, and they're going to be in our face, and we got to get in better shape and ready to roll with some of the big boys next week.
How much were you sweating the team title when Abington rolls off 4 straight?
I definitely was. Abington had a great tournament. Coach Peters, he did a great job getting those guys ready. From the time we wrestled them, the end of January to now, they got a lot better. Some of the kids got better, and they competed, and I like that. That's what the sport's all about. It's nice when it comes down to the wire and you don't know who's going to win the tournament. We want that competition. We want to be the best, but to be the best, we want everyone else to continue to push us so we can continue to take next steps and next levels.
What are your thoughts going forward now for regionals? Obviously, that's going to be a little different too.
That's going to be a big difference. I mean, now 4 guys get through. Every match is important. You got to be ready to go. You can't have a bad match. You got to be ready to go. You got to leave it on the line. You have to have grit. Certain teams everywhere, everyone's dealing with the same stuff. And I've been telling these guys all year. We've had to shut down twice. Every team's been shutting down. This year you're going to see, and you've been seeing here, the kids who are working on their own, who are doing stuff to, even if they can't get in their room, what are they doing to get better? What are they doing to keep their conditioning up? How bad do they want it? Everyone could say, hey, I want to be a district champ. I want to be a regional champ. I want to be a state medalist. But who's going to put the time in when coach isn't watching? And that's what makes champions.
Again, that was Lou DeLauro from Delaware Valley Wrestling, as Delaware Valley won the District 2 Class 3A Wrestling Championships last weekend. Coming up here in the next 7 days in NEPA, the District Diving Championships will be held on Saturday at the Wilkes-Barre CYC. In wrestling, the regional tournaments are held this weekend, with Class 2A at Williamsport High School and Class 3A being at the Charles Schrin Community Center of Palmer Township in the Lehigh Valley. That tournament's always been in the Lehigh Valley. Most of the time it's always been at Bethlehem Liberty or Bethlehem Freedom. It has moved this year with no fans or spectators allowed. It'll be a little different, but it's still the same District 12, 11, and 2 coming together. And out of regionals, in both regionals, the top 4 will advance to the Super Regionals. After Super Regionals will be the state tournament. 4 from each Super Regional will advance to the state tournament. Thanks for listening, and be sure to join us next time for more NEPA Sports Extra.